This is the moment you've waited for.
The Greatest Showman is a film released by 20th Century Fox in 2017 that follows the story of the world-renowned ringmaster and professional scammer Phineas T. Barnum. This musical drama was known for its incredible soundtrack and visuals, yet ironically enough, critics saw the movie as a lesser than average and just overall meh experience. Funny how that works. That sounds pretty similar to how Barnum's original show was accepted. But does it truly live up to its name, or is The Greatest Showman not really the greatest show? The story follows our main protagonist, P.T. Barnum, on his journey through life as he marries his wife and has 2 kids, and as he gains booming success in his circus business, he gradually loses sight of what he was doing all this for, as he states in the song From Now On. After lying to the public multiple times, scamming the bank into loaning him tons of money, and abandoning the people and projects that brought him to his glory, everything crashes in on Barnum, leaving his show business bankrupt and his wife leaving him. Eventually, he comes to his senses, realizes the damage he's done, and somehow regains the trust of his family as well as his original circus crew, and leaves the showman business to his partner, Philip Carlyle. The movie ends with him and his wife watching his daughters perform on stage and utters the line, "It's everything you ever want, it's everything you ever need, and it's here right in front of you." The CHC. The film follows the CHC structure to a T. Despite being more of an anti-hero than anything, Barnum is certainly the protagonist of the story, and if anything, Philip Carlyle's the hero, since he is the one that got Barnum back on his feet and gave him half his cut of the profits from when the business was still standing. The moral message can be seen in 2 different ways. The first way is best described by P.T. Barnum himself. At the end of the movie, a Barnum quote is shown: "The noblest art is that of making others happy." But this isn't exactly the greatest thing to take from the movie. The better moral is to always keep in mind what you're working for. Barnum was doing all this for his family, but lost that vision and reasoning the second he saw Jenny Lind walk down that shiny red palace carpet, and things did not go as planned since. There are many couple formations throughout this movie. Barnum and Charity literally get married right at the start of the film. Philip Carlyle becomes Barnum's business partner and later his friend. Barnum ends up abandoning both his other couples for Jenny Lind, and Philip became madly in love with Ann Wheeler, one of the trapeze artists for Barnum's circus. The resolution of the story is awesome, and I think they did a nice job with it. Philip shared the last of his cut of the profit with Barnum to get the circus back up and running, and after the show was picked up again, Barnum passed the ringmaster title to Philip and went back to spending the rest of his retirement with his wife and daughters. Philip went on to run the show for a long time, according to this amazing time skip cut I didn't notice until the 8th time I watched the film. He switches costumes in the cut. It's so cool, dude. Genre. I honestly couldn't find a base genre that fit this film just by watching it. I mean, of course it's a musical, but that's more of a subgenre than anything, and it didn't seem to fit anything specifically, so I went and looked it up, and apparently it's considered a drama film. Not gonna lie, besides the dance segments of the museum burning down, there's nothing that dramatic that comes to my mind. It's not exactly a documentary or history film, since there are several key points in Barnum's actual career that are left out because it's supposed to be PG, like how Charles Stratton was taught to drink and smoke before he was even 10, but it's not fiction enough to be considered a fantasy film either. I mean, we could just combine all of those and see what we get. It's a musical, drama, documentary, historical fantasy film. That sounds really stupid. Nope. Editing. The editing of this film is mostly continuity editing, with a few examples of montage editing, long take editing, and time skip, transition editing. The story follows Barnum's life, so naturally the majority of the movie is continuity editing, so you don't lose your place. There are 2 noticeable time jumps, one at the start, and one during the final song. These show how Barnum's life was affected by his past decisions, both as a young boy and as a boastful performer. And I absolutely love the long take edits used in The Greatest Showman. One in particular I want to show off is right at the build-up of the song This Is Me. This looks sick! It truly brings out her emotion and how everything feels surreal to her. And the montage editing comes in during 3 specific parts of the movie. During the song A Million Dreams, the song Come Alive,
The world becomes a fantasy, and you're more than you could ever be.
and the song From Now On. It's used to show the adventure, the progress, the journey of each of these songs. The male gaze. The male gaze is actually portrayed as a significant plot point in The Greatest Showman, that being P.T. Barnum's first interaction with Jenny Lind. Jenny later sees Barnum as the scammer his past reputation portrays him as, and realizes that he wants nothing to do with her personally, or in her own words,
"When you're careless with other people, Mr. Barnum, you bring ruin upon yourself."
you could argue that Barnum had this same perspective with all of his previous acts, but during the scene you can see that he has this sort of epiphany moment where he understands that what he's doing is wrong, and he notices that the direction things are going cannot end well with his wife and family. The iconography. The first half of The Greatest Showman is all about Barnum gathering together as many unique people as possible. Although Barnum himself uses them for his own benefit at first, the appearance of each of these characters perfectly represents their respective roles. The casting of actors and actresses like Zendaya for Anne Wheeler and Sam Humphrey for Charles Stratton were excellent choices, and they did an incredible job. There's also this one particular scene that I want to show that is a great example of iconography, and that is the scene that comes right before the song Rewrite the Stars. Anne and Philip begin to head to the theater when they cross Philip's parents. Mr. and Mrs. Carlisle are visibly disappointed in their son, and even state their offense about Anne's appearance. And they were not talking about her outfit either.
Have you no shame? Associating yourself with that Barnum business is one thing, but parading around with the help.
This movie takes place circa the 1840s, and that scene accurately represents how people of other ethnicities were treated back then. It's the little things that they think about. The good reader approach. C.S. Lewis's good reader approach is what separates the men from the children, the film analyzers and the casual moviegoers. Lewis states that the good reader wants a movie to expand their view of the world, to see things in a different light, whereas the bad reader sees art as something to use for themselves. This movie encourages both the good reader and the bad reader. The true moral message of the story is to realize what you're fighting for, thus being the good reader side. However, the quote at the end of the film suggests otherwise. I mean, this doesn't seem to contribute to the good reader side at all. The Greatest Showman is definitely in my top 5 favorite movies of all time, with its accurate iconography, amazing transitions and editing, proper CHC, and stunning soundtrack. Probably should have mentioned that it won a Golden Globe Award as well as a Grammy. It certainly is not perfect by any stretch, but nothing has to be. And anyone can hit on it as much as they want, but it's not scared to be seen, and it makes no apologies.
Oh, come on, Mia, that was so lame.
Okay, alright, it's a bad joke. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.